Hey there, my friends. Landon Stewart back here again. So sorry about that. The freaking Google gremlins got us, right? So sorry. I hope that you at least understood what I was trying to say there when we were talking about the Facebook ad stuff. So if you could, when you can hear me, leave me a yes in the comments below, just so that I can make sure everyone can hear me okay. And I'm going to dive back in. So what I was basically talking about, I don't know for sure when I got cut off. Brent, do you know when I got cut off, bro? Brent? Yo, Brent, do you know when I got cut off, bro? Okay. I think Brent's frozen, so it's just going to be me for the next couple of seconds here. I'm going to share my screen with you again so that I can kind of just, I'm going to dive back in and we'll kind of get started. Now, oh, wait, I do need to tell everyone to refresh. I'm sorry about this, everybody. We're kind of in shambles right now. Let me just tell everyone to refresh here. Okay. Okay, guys, we're back live. Refresh. Okay. Oops, that's spelled wrong. Whatever. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's dive back into Facebook ad stuff. So basically what I was saying was you need to figure out who's likely to buy your product, right? Because so I started studying Dan Kennedy is where I left off. And Dan Kennedy teaches like direct mail marketing. So back in the day, before Facebook ads, before the internet, people used to like mail postcards to people. And I started going through some of his training to learn direct response marketing, to learn. And so what's direct response marketing real quick? Let me just explain this because this is useful. So direct response marketing is like very different than what big corporations do. And this is why little guys like us can be as profitable as like giant corporations. It's because they basically waste money on advertising. They like put these ads on TV that like don't tell people to do anything. They're just kind of like an ad that's just sort of like there. Whereas what direct response marketing is, which is what we're doing when we place a Facebook ad, is it's the act of getting someone to take an immediate action. And so when someone sees your ad, we don't want to like brand yourself with a Facebook ad. We want someone to click on your ad. We want an immediate reaction. So I started studying direct response marketing. And Dan Kennedy started teaching that everything in direct response marketing came down to the list. Basically, who you targeted with your ad. If you didn't, even if you had an awesome ad, if you didn't target the right people, your ad wasn't going to be successful, no matter what, right? And so whenever you go to place your Facebook ad, that is the first step. And again, the people who are most likely to buy from you is your competitors. So like a real world example of this, let's say you want to target, and I know there are like two different groups of people watching tonight. We have people who want to generate customers for Doobly. We also have people who want to generate reps for Doobly. So we have people wanting to generate customers, people wanting to generate reps. So let's talk for a second about reps, because that's really where my experience is. Brent, in a little bit, is going to give you a strategy that's going to work really, really well long-term with customers. So I'm going to talk about reps for a second. So if you want to generate reps for your business, the best way to do it is ask yourself, you know, who's likely to buy my product? Well, the answer to that question of who's likely to buy is someone that is in network marketing right now. So because if they're in network marketing now, they're highly likely to buy into a network marketing company in the future. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Give me some yeses below in the comments if it makes sense of why you want to target your competitors on Facebook. So like, let's do an example. Let's say you want to do like Best Buy, right? Like you want to get people, you know, and the Best Buy keyword or for Doobly, right? Like we get cash back at Best Buy. Well, people you can target with on the customer side of the business would be, you could target Best Buy. You could also target Best Buy's competitors. You could, like, same thing with Apple. You could target Apple's competitors. So that's how you can kind of build up a list of places that you can target. Now, one thing before we dive in, I know some of you are having trouble getting your ads approved. If you're having trouble getting your ads approved, let me explain why that is real fast. This is like a 99% probability that this is the reason why your ads are getting disapproved. Some of you, it might be a different reason. So number one thing, in your ads, if you're targeting reps, You can't talk about money in your ads at all. You can't say, here's how I've made money. You can't talk about money in your ads at all. That's not why most of you are getting disapproved, because I know a lot of you are getting disapproved even on the customer side, and here's why. The reason why is most likely because you're using a system capture page. What does that mean? Well, basically, we have the lead system for WooCar, and it's awesome, right? Like the system, I watched some of Aaron Parker's videos just yesterday on everything the lead system does, and it's totally awesome. The only problem with it is on Facebook, Facebook does not like system lead capture pages. They just don't. And the reason why they don't is Facebook has to think about the user first. So in Facebook's mind, the user comes first, because without the user, then they aren't going to have any advertisers. And so they think in terms of user first. And so the reason why they don't like system lead capture pages is because if everyone, like let's say we have like 10,000 members in WooCar. Let's say every member of WooCar wanted to go promote on Facebook using this system, right? Well, then there'd be 10,000 people promoting one page on Facebook, and if 10,000 people are all promoting one page, Facebook now sees that page as spam, right? Because users see it over and over and over again, so they start there's like a little X in the top of an ad that they can mark it as spam. And so that's basically what happens with system lead capture pages. And so if you use the lead system of WooCar, which I totally recommend using the lead system everywhere. When you're doing your Twitter marketing, use the lead system. Whenever you're posting on your personal profile on Facebook, use the lead system. You're doing Pinterest, lead system. Instagram, lead system. I would use it everywhere, but most likely if you're doing Facebook ads, it's just not going to be approved. You might get lucky and have it approved for a little while, but long term, it's just not going to get approved. Facebook just is not a huge fan, and it has nothing to do with WooCar. It's all systems. I have a Facebook training that is available to people of multiple different network marketing companies. I have a training that serves lots of different companies, and it's for all companies, right? Like I have people in every company have the exact same problem when they first start placing ads on Facebook. Their ads get disapproved, and the reason why is they're using the capture pages that a company or a system gives them, and Facebook just doesn't like it. And so there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing you can do is, and this is what I recommend you do, I use a system called either Lead Pages, which I'm not an affiliate for it, so this is not like any sort of affiliate link or anything like here. This is what I actually use, and let me actually take you there. So there are two systems that I use, and you might want to jot these down. The first one is leadpages.net. And this is a system that you can build lead capture pages with. And so I use this one, and then I use one called ClickFunnels, clickfunnels.com. These are the two, and I actually use them both. Some people ask me, like, which one is better? And the truth is that they're both kind of better in their own little way. Lead Pages is probably better if you're, like, first getting started on the internet. I'd probably say Lead Pages. First getting started, I'd probably... Oops, we've got a video playing here. Let me... Sorry about this, guys. I would probably say Lead Pages if you're first getting started. It's a little bit simpler. I personally like ClickFunnels more because ClickFunnels is like fully customizable. So you can create anything you want inside of ClickFunnels, but there's more of a learning curve there. So it's just kind of, I think they're both the same cost, like $30 a month. Honestly, the expense is not a big deal. It doesn't even really matter. If you're growing a business, the expense is so small in comparison to the amount of income that you can create. And so if you want to get Facebook ads approved, I would use either Lead Pages or ClickFunnels to create your capture page, to create your landing page, the page that you send people on your ads. And I'm going to check and see if there was any questions or anything about that. Let me see. Thank you, thank you. Yes, and I will be doing a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, hold them to the end. Me and Brent are definitely going to be answering all of your questions. But yeah, so let me just kind of log in real quick, and I'll just kind of take you around Lead Pages. I'm not going to show you everything. Lead Pages has a ton of tutorial videos on how to set it up. So I'm not going to sit here and spend a bunch of your time tonight showing you how to set it up. But let me just kind of show you kind of what it is. So I'm logged into my Lead Pages account, and again, I use both Lead Pages and ClickFunnels. I like ClickFunnels more. It's more customizable. If you're just getting started, then Lead Pages might be a great solution for you. And so as you can see, I'm just logged in here. This is like the home page after you log in. And basically they have all of these different lead capture pages that you can do. So basically, how would you use this? Well, you have your lead system through WooCar. So what you can do is, and Brent just sent me a message on Facebook. Let me see what he's saying. Sorry, Google Hangout's just locking up on screen. Okay, Brent should be coming back on here in a second. So you have the lead system through WooCar. So what I would do if you're promoting with Facebook ads, and again, any other kind of marketing strategy, I would just send straight to the lead system, right? Like with anything else. But if you want to get your Facebook ads approved, here's what I would do. So you have your lead system that's through WooCar. So what I would do is I would just send people to a Lead Pages page first to capture their email address, so that you can capture their email addresses so that you can follow up with people. And then I would send people from a Lead Pages lead capture page or ClickFunnels, whichever you choose. And then I would send people to the lead system page of WooCar. Does that make sense, everybody? Give me some yeses in the comments if that makes sense. So you just go from Lead Pages to the lead system page. So instead of going straight to the lead system, you go to Lead Pages first, capture the email address, and then your thank you page is the page of the lead system through WooCar, and you should get your ads approved. Again, give me some yeses, and I know there's a little bit of a delay between the time you hear me and when I'm actually talking. So I'm gonna wait a second, see if there's any yeses. Okay, I'm finally on. I'm obsessed with ClickFunnels. Yeah, ClickFunnels is awesome. I totally love ClickFunnels. So if you're having trouble getting your ads approved, most likely, again, just to repeat, it's because you're using the WooCar lead system, and the system is awesome. Use it everywhere, but with Facebook ads, I would use a solution before the lead system. So either Lead Pages or ClickFunnels, capture the email address, then send them to the lead system. Again, give me some yeses if I'm totally being clear there. Now, I'm gonna grab a drink of water. It's gonna take me 1 second, and then I'm gonna dive into some cool stuff. So one thing that I've seen, as I've said, I teach a lot of people Facebook ads. I've taught tons and tons of people Facebook ads, and one of the main things they have trouble with is like how to get all of the little tiny settings right inside, like what kind of bidding should you use, which countries should you target, things like that. Like how do I actually set up the ad? That's one of the biggest barriers that I've noticed with people. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how to set up an ad and how to get all of the settings right so that you can get the cheapest clicks and the cheapest leads possible. And I'm actually going to show you how to do it in what's called the Power Editor. Now, if you go through my training inside of the WooCar back office, I teach you how to set up your ads in what's called Facebook Ad Manager. So I show you how to do it in the Ad Manager. And so what I'm going to be showing you tonight is how to set up ads in the Power Editor. Now, the Power Editor is a little bit of a more advanced strategy because it's a little bit more complex to figure out. But I've been using the Power Editor like crazy for the last month and a half or so, and I like it so much more than the Ads Manager. It gives you so many more options, so much more functionality that it takes a little bit of getting used to, but when you figure it out, it is so much better than the Ads Manager that it's totally worth using. And all of the settings I'm going to show you how to do, if you still used to choose the Facebook Ad Manager, you can still use it. So it's not really a big deal. So let me kind of log in here, and I'm going to show you how to use the Power Editor, and I'm going to show you how to get all the settings right, how to set up your Facebook ads and all that cool stuff. And again, if you're looking for like sales copy stuff, like how do you write good sales copy, go inside of the training that I have in the WooCar back office, and I go over sales copy, how to write really compelling ads. But tonight I want to focus on two things. I want to focus on getting all of the settings right so that you're getting the cheapest clicks and leads possible, and then I'm going to show you how you can create images for your Facebook ads, because the truth is, here's something that I really, so I've been doing Facebook ads for like 2 years. And honestly, for the first year and a half, more than the first 22 months of that, I didn't test a bunch of stuff. Like my stuff was working well, so I just kind of let it run. But over the last 6 weeks, I have been testing like crazy, and I know this is one thing that Brent's really going to be talking to you about whenever he hops on. I've been testing different things like crazy, and here's one thing I've noticed is I've tested multiple ads, and the ad, so like your ad basically, imagine this is a Facebook ad. And so your ad has like 3 parts. Your ad has like the body of the ad, which is like the top right here, which is like where you kind of write like your headline of your ad. You then have the what Facebook calls your headline, which is right this little section right there. And then you have the description that goes right here. And then in the middle of all of this, you have a great big spot right here, which is the picture, right? And one thing I've noticed is I have tested over the last 6 weeks, I've tested leaving this 1, 2, and 3, all of these things exactly identical, and changing only the picture and leaving everything else the same. And I have noticed huge differences between the responses and how much I'm paying per lead. So again, everything with the ad is identical, just a different image, and it dramatically changes how much I'm paying per click and per lead. So what does that mean? It basically means that the most important part of your ad is your image. And I hadn't really tested that. Like, my images have been working well. I never really tested it, to be honest. You know, I guess I'm not a very good paid traffic guy, because what does Matt always teach? Matt always teaches test, test, test like crazy. And I never really did until about 6 weeks ago. I started testing like crazy. And the image, right, like the picture you use is like the most important part of the entire ad, which was surprising to me. And so I'm going to show you and walk you through a free thing that I use to create all of my ads. It works incredibly well. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to show you the settings, and then what kind of images work best with Facebook ads, and how you can create really cool images for free. So let me again, okay, so here's Facebook, right? And I assume all of you know how to get around and stuff. So as you can see right here, here's the settings, and we have what the ads manager right there. So I'm just going to click on ads manager to go into my ads manager. And here in a second, you're going to see that I have like a million different ads. I have ads scheduled for tomorrow. I have like 40 ads scheduled to go live tomorrow morning, which is pretty exciting. Show you. Let me actually show you the last 7 days, so you can kind of see that what I'm showing actually works. So here's the last 7 days, and as you can see, last week I ran 2 campaigns, and I was doing them for a webinar that I was doing, and so I only had to run the ads for 3 days. But in those 3 days, and it doesn't show how much I spent exactly. Actually, yes, it does. So altogether, if you want to calculate that, it's 145 plus 274 is how much I spent. So let me get a calculator up here. 145 plus 274. So that equals $419 that I spent on ads. And those 2 ads got me 114 plus 94 leads. So let me see. Let me do the math on that. I'm not great at math, so I'm going to use a calculator. 119 plus 94 equals 208 leads. So I got 208 leads for like, what was it, like $417, which means I paid like $2 a lead, which is totally incredible, right? Like back in the day, people used to pay so much money per lead, and Facebook leads are amazing. They work incredibly well. So that's just kind of some proof that I know what I'm talking about and that my stuff actually works. So here's how to get to the Power Editor. Now, one thing about the Power Editor is that it only works in Google Chrome. So Google Chrome is a browser, and if you don't have it, you can download it. You can just go to Google. Here's how to download it. You just go to Google if you don't have it, and you just type in Google Chrome. And you just go and you just download it. It's 100% free. It works really well. I don't use it a lot. I like Firefox, but Google Chrome, you can download the browser because that's the only place that the Power Editor works in. Like if you go to your ads manager in Firefox or any other browser and you go over here to see Power Editor, it just won't be there. It only works in Google Chrome. I don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is. So when you're in your Chrome browser, you simply go over here to the Power Editor. So I'm going to open it up. And here's my Power Editor. And so what I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to show you how to get all of the little settings right so that you have everything working really well. So the first thing you want to do, I'm going to show you how to use the Power Editor here. So here's how to create an ad in the Power Editor. It's a little bit different than the Facebook Ads Manager. It looks kind of complex. It's actually pretty easy. But all you do is you hit this plus button, and you'll be creating a campaign. So I'm going to hit the plus button to create a campaign. And I'm just going to name this WooCar webinar, since we're on a WooCar webinar tonight. And so that's the first thing you do. And then as you can see here, we have, it says auction. Just leave this the same. Don't change it. Just leave it exactly as it is. And then it asks for your ads objective. Now, a couple of things as far as ads objectives are concerned. So my favorite way to do an ads objective is to do optimize for conversions. Optimize for conversions. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. You can do optimize for clicks, where you're basically, Facebook's going to tell you how many clicks you're getting, or you can optimize for conversions. Now, my favorite thing to do is conversions. I find that it gets me the cheapest lead possible, because what Facebook does is they then target the ad to the people who are most likely to opt in. And so I find that works the best. Now, the thing about optimizing for conversions is that you have to have the tracking pixel on a thank you page so that it can tell Facebook whether or not you basically got the lead. And so basically, to do conversions, you have to own the thank you page. Now you can do that. You can create a capture page and a thank you page inside of lead pages, as an example, and have a video here, and then have that pixel, place that pixel on this page, which they just give you the pixel, and you just go paste it into this page. And there's a training inside of lead pages and ClickFunnels on how to do that. It's really, really simple, and you can use it. Now, if you're going to send straight from the lead pages page to the WooCar lead system, then you don't own this thank you page, so you can't place the pixel here. So if you don't have the pixel, then what I would do is do clicks to website. Now, there's a lot of different things you can do. You can also do boosted post kinds of ads where you do a page post engagement. You can do ads for page likes, whatever you want. As for this example, I'm just going to do clicks to website to keep it simple. And I'm just going to click create, and so it's going to create this campaign for me. And now the next thing we need to do is we need to create our ad set. So here's one thing that I do. So some people, what they do is they will create like bunch of different, they'll basically, so they create their ad, right? They create their ad, and then they put a bunch of different targeting on one ad. So they'll target, let's use a network marketing example, and you're targeting network marketing companies. And again, this example works for anything, but they'll target like Herbalife, Monavie, et cetera, all on one ad, right? But the problem with that is that you can't tell what's winning, because let's say the ad bombs. Well, you don't know if it bombed because of Herbalife or if it bombed because of Monavie. You don't know what keyword was doing well and what keyword wasn't doing well. And again, what's the rule? You need to test everything. We need to know what's working and what isn't working. And some people will put like 10 keywords in one campaign, and they have no idea what's working and what isn't working. And so they're like, well, the ad didn't do well, and they don't know, even though it could have done well with a couple of the keywords. Does that make sense, everybody? Give me some yeses in the comments. So what I do is I create one big campaign for everything. So if I'm going to be targeting network marketing companies, I'll create one overall campaign. So it's like one big campaign for all of the network marketing companies. And then what I do is I create a new ad set for each individual keyword. So using the customer example, if I was going to be targeting Best Buy and Apple and all of that, I would have one big campaign that would just be Doobly customers, right? Or whatever, like whatever you wanted to name the campaign for, like everything. So I'd have one big campaign, because they basically break it into three. So we have the campaign, we have an ad set, and then we have the ad. So Doobly customers would be like the overall campaign, and then under the ad set, I would have all the different ad sets for different keywords. So I would have Best Buy would be one ad set, and it would be one ad for Best Buy. And then I would do Apple. That would be another ad set, and that'd be another ad, Apple. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me some yeses in the comments if I'm being super clear here, because this is really important. Again, if you don't have these, and you need to do them in different ad sets too, not just different ads, and the reason why is an ad set has one price. So basically, an ad set, you can only spend like $10 a day. Well, if you want to spend $10 a day for each Best Buy and Apple, they need to be in separate ad sets. So I have my Doobly customers campaign or my network marketing company's campaign, and then a different ad set for each keyword, a different ad underneath this ad set. And I'm going to show you what I mean by everything. Let me just see if I'm being clear here. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. How many conversions did you get? They both use lead pages. I thought okay. Yes. So yeah, I saw a question in there. Someone asked. I thought that WooCar uses lead pages for their funnels. They don't use lead pages. I think someone answered it that they use MLSP for their system. But again, you'll need to use, like, to get the ad approved, you'll want to have your own account, because that gives you your own domain within lead pages or ClickFunnels. So you want to have your own account there, and you'll get your ads approved. Now, I could be totally wrong, and one of you might get your ads approved, but I've talked to dozens of people over the last couple of weeks, and I've talked to people who use the exact same ad that was disapproved. They change out the link to a lead pages or ClickFunnels link, and it goes from disapproved to approved with the exact same ad. So but yes, so back to it. So back into the ads manager here. So I just created the campaign, which I called WooCar webinar. So now I want to create an ad set. And so now an ad set, let's say we're doing and let me just, okay, WooCar webinar. So let's say we're doing an ad set, we want to do, let's just use the Best Buy example. So I'm going to create an ad set for Best Buy, and then it's going to pop up here in a second. So now it's right here at the very top. So now, as you can see, we have some settings that we can set here for Best Buy. So a couple of things that I do that are important. Number one is you obviously see your budget here, which is how much you want to spend. Now, I like to not just do one keyword. So, like, let's say you have $20 a day to spend on ads. Here's how I would spend $20 a day. I would do 4 ad sets targeting 4 different keywords, each spending $5 a day. I wouldn't do one keyword at $20 a day, because if that one keyword doesn't work, then the entire campaign, you could think, well, this ad doesn't work, but it could just be because of that one keyword. And so, like, what I do, I'm spending, the ads that I'm spending tomorrow, I think I'm going to be spending total like $300 a day. And how I broke that down was I have 30 campaigns that are each spending $10 a day. So basically 30 different keywords, each spending $10 a day for each keyword, so that I'm not spending $300 a day on one keyword. Again, what that would do is, number one, I couldn't tell if the keyword or if the ad worked for multiple keywords or not. And number two, it'll saturate that one ad set a lot faster. And we want our ads to last a long time. So you choose your budget. And again, if you only have $10 a day, I'd probably do 3 different ad sets with 3 different keywords at $3 a day is probably what I would do. So you set your budget, and then you can schedule your start time. Now, here's what I do. If you start your ad, let's say you're setting up your ad at like 3 p.m. on tomorrow. Let's say tomorrow you're setting up your ad, it's like 3 p.m. and you're setting up your ad. Now, if you set up your ad at 3 p.m., what will happen is your ad will then go under review. It'll probably be reviewed within an hour or two. So if you set it up at 3 p.m., it'll be like approved by like 5 p.m. if it gets approved. And then what will happen is Facebook doesn't start showing them right away. They take a little bit to even start showing the ad. So then it could be like 7 p.m. before your ad even starts. And if your ad doesn't start till like 7 p.m., a couple of things happen that aren't good. Number one, Facebook won't spend your entire budget. They will like incrementally decrease your budget. So instead of spending $10, you're only going to spend $3 because you're at the very end of the day. The other thing Facebook will do is they want to make sure that you spend that $3 that day, so they won't send you their best traffic. They'll give you less targeted clicks. So here's what I do. If I'm setting up my ad, and I do this no matter what time of day I'm setting up my ad, what I do is I schedule the start date for the next day. And so what I would do, so today's March 15th, so I would go and I would set it up for March 16th, and then this is Pacific time, so I always set it up for 6 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8 a.m. my time. So my ads, so basically what happens is it'll get approved even before it goes live. So it'll get approved, if I set up an ad tonight, it would be approved tonight, and then it'll start tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., 8 a.m. my time, and it's going to be displaying all day. Does that make sense to everybody? Hope that it does. The next option that you have here is you can schedule an end date. Now, If you're just running the ad forever, then you don't necessarily need to do an end date. What I run a lot of ads for webinars that I sell stuff on. And so what I will do, like I have a webinar that's at, I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Wednesday night. And so one thing I'll do is I'll set the ad to end at like on Wednesday night at like, and again, this is Pacific time. So I set it to end, I think at like 5 p.m. Eastern, which is, I think I think it's like 2 or 3 p.m. Pacific time is what time that's not really that important though. I would just don't schedule an end date. And so that's the ad set. So now the next thing we need to do after we have the ad set for Best Buy is to create our actual ad. And so you just go over to ads and it's processing. Here we go. And then we just create ad. And then let me show you what to do. So first thing we have to do is we have to find our campaign, which is WooCar webinar, and then we find our ad set, which is Best Buy, and then again I do the same keyword, so I name the ad the exact same name as the ad set, and I just click create. Okay, and here in a second we'll have the Best Buy link, or the Best Buy ad here in a second, I believe. Here we go. So now as you can see, the ad's objective is clicks to website, and so now we can start creating our ad. And whether you do this in the ads manager or in the Power Editor, it's going to be pretty much exactly the same. Here's one of the things that I love about the Power Editor and why I choose the Power Editor over the ads manager. So in the ads manager, let me kind of show you what I mean real quick. Let me show you so that you can really see what I mean. So I'm going to go back to Facebook and I'm going to show you the difference between creating an ad in the Power Editor and creating one in the ads manager. So I'm just going to click create ad here, and this is going to take me to Facebook's ad manager, which I don't know why they have two different things and why the settings are different in each of them, but for some reason they do. So here's the just regular ads manager of Facebook. And so again, send people to your website. This is a clicks to website. I'm just going to choose a URL that I've used in the past here as an example. You would obviously paste in your URL wherever you want to send people. As you can see, this is a lead pages page that I'm sending people here in this example. And so now here's why I like the ads manager, the Power Editor over the ads manager. As you can see here, all of this has restricted amount of words. So like we can only use 25 words in the headline, and the text of our ad, which is like the part of the ad that goes right up there, we can only have 90 characters. Now, when you create your ad in the Power Editor, there is no limit. So you can write as much, like if you've ever seen ads that are longer, but they're still clicks to website ads, they created them in the Power Editor. You can use as many words as you want. You can make the ad literally as long as you want to make it. Like 90 characters is short. It's really hard to write a compelling ad in only 90 characters. The more words you use, the more compelling you can be. And obviously, to an extent, this is still a Facebook ad. You don't want it to be too terribly long. But that's why I choose the Power Editor. It gives you way more functionality, and I like it a lot. So now the next thing we're going to need to do is to obviously choose the website URL. So I'm just going to type in my website here, just join link as an example here. And then we go and we type in our text. So with the actual ad, and again, I talk about this a lot inside of my training within WooCar, so I'm not going to go too much into the ad copy stuff, and I know Brent's going to show you some examples here in a little bit of some of the stuff he's been doing, so I'm not going to dive too much into it. But the most important thing, this is like the only thing that matters, is that you write your ad so freaking direct to the audience you're talking to. So like if you're talking to network marketers, you need to use the network marketing jargon, right? Like if you're wanting to bring people into the Doobly business and you're targeting Robert Kiyosaki to bring people in as a keyword, you would use words like, here's how to escape the rat race. You know what I mean? Like anyone who follows Robert Kiyosaki knows that. So if you want to get a high click-through rate, you need to be so zoned in, right? Like a lot of people, they'll run the same ad for like Apple or Best Buy, or the same ads for affiliate marketers and network marketers, and you don't want to do that. And I talk about that a lot inside of my training, but you want to be so zoned in with who you're targeting. I promise you, it changes the game exponentially when you're really zoned in with exactly who you're targeting. Let me just see if there's any questions. Cool. Okay, so if that makes sense, Give me some yeses in the comments. Again, you can go through my training inside of WooCart on how to do that specifically. Okay? So next thing here, so you have the text, we have the link description, and again, I go over all of this in that training, so I'm not going to go over it too much. We then have the headline, display link. Now, one thing you can do with the display link that's kind of sneaky and ninja is you don't actually have to have a link there. You can actually write whatever you want. So like what I do in my ads, instead of having, again, I advertise a webinar, and again, you can advertise whatever you want. The lead system, the WooCart system with the lead pages page first. And so what you want to do is you can actually, like, I can write for display link for my webinar is I write click here. It's not a link. It even has spaces. Yet Facebook doesn't mind. And so I use this, I turn it into a call to action instead of just having like my link, joinlandon.com. Like, who cares about that? You know what I mean? And so I have click here to register now, and that will get you a higher click-through rate because it's a call to action. So like if you're advertising a free video, like the WooCart video that explains Doobly, you could say click here to watch this free video now. Or something like that. So you can have the link be a call to action. Your next thing that you can do is you can have an image, right, which is the main thing that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. I'm going to show you the tool I use to create images before handing it over to Brent. And then we have the call to action button. Now, I personally do use a button. I use either one of these two buttons. I either use learn more or I use sign up. Sometimes I do, since again I do my webinar, I'll use sign up, like sign up for the webinar, or I'll do learn more. And you will see a nice little bump in click-through rate by adding this button in there. So that's the next thing to do. Now the next thing you do is after we create the entire ad, so we have like the ad, and again it would have our big image here. You don't want to just have a link, obviously you want to have a nice big image there, and I'm going to show you how to create those here in a second. And then, oh, next thing, one more quick thing. So a couple of things here is we have, as you can see, placement. We have mobile, desktop, and we have desktop right column. Now, whenever you really get into split testing, you can run different ads for all three of these things. Mobile, you'll get an exponentially lower conversion rate. So if you're going to test mobile, do it in its own ad. Don't do it in the same ad. Like, if you're going to do mobile, do it in a different ad. Don't do it in that same ad because you're going to get a much lower, your leads are going to be more money targeting mobile. So I don't even target mobile at all. It's something that I'm going to start testing, but in totally different ads, not all in the same. Now, as far as desktop newsfeed and right column, I have actually done both. So I started off only doing desktop newsfeed because you get a little bit of a higher click-through rate, a little bit of a cheaper lead, and then I started testing desktop newsfeed versus desktop right column. So I did them both in separate ads. Now, a lot of times I'll do them in the same ad. I'll just do one ad for both of them, and I just run them. Now, if I'm really split testing, and it's the first time I'm ever running the ad ever, and I want to get, see how everything is working, then I'll run these two in different ads. But you can totally leave them in the same ad. I do it. Oh, and then also, one other thing here is we have use a conversion tracking pixel. So if you are wanting to figure out how many leads you're getting and stuff like that, this is where you put in your pixel. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so now the next thing we do is we go to our audiences. Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can select our location. Now, I personally only target the US. Like, I know some people will target English-speaking countries, so they'll target US, Canada, United Kingdom, etc., etc. I personally only target the US. I get a little bit higher quality of a lead from that. I pay a little bit more money. I pay a little bit more because it's a little bit cheaper to advertise in the other countries. And if you live in another country, then obviously target the other countries too. But I personally only target the US. I get a little bit higher quality targeting just the US. It saves me a little bit of money. But you can target all English-speaking countries there. US, Canada. I would leave it to these four: US, Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia. I would leave it to those four. We then have age groups. A lot of times I just leave this 18 to 65 plus. If I'm getting really specific, I'll change the age group to 22 to 64. A lot of times I leave it. Gender. Now, sometimes I'll do 2 different ads, one for girls, one for guys, and you will get a higher click-through rate. Sometimes I don't do that and I just leave that as all. Languages, I just leave, I'm only targeting the US, so languages isn't really a big deal. And then we have interest. So this is where you target in like the keyword that you want to target. And again, the most important thing with this is like if I'm doing a customer ad, I'm not going to do Apple, so we could do iPhone. I'm not going to do iPhone, Best Buy, etc., all in one ad. I'm going to do, this ad is just Best Buy. And then if I want to also target Apple and the iPhone and stuff, I'm going to create a whole new ad group, and everything on the ad can be exactly the same, but I'm going to create a whole new ad just for that other interest so that I can see which ones are getting clicks and which ones aren't. Again, if you do them in the same ad, Facebook won't tell you that, hey, this interest is getting this click-through rate and this price of click and lead. They don't tell you. So you need to do them in separate ads and ad sets. Really, really important to do that. So you put in your interest, and then that's all I do here. And then here's the next thing that's really important. So you have optimization and pricing. So here's what I do. And I've tested so much different stuff. Here's where I get the cheapest leads. I just leave it exactly how it is. I do optimize CPM, and I use default bids recommended. So basically what this is doing is it's just telling Facebook, whatever you want to bill me, just charge me that amount. And I do it this way, and here's why I do it this way. So if you wanted to, you could do CPM. And if you're going to do CPM, here's how I do it, because I've tested it a bunch. So as you can see right here, it has a suggested bid. And Facebook's suggested bid right here is 38 cents. But if you bid 38 cents, you'll notice that you'll get no impressions. And so some of you watching have probably done, hey, I did the suggested bid of Facebook of 38 cents, what they told me to bid. Why isn't my ad getting viewed? I don't know why Facebook does that. They're like, hey, bid 38 cents, and you bid 38 cents, and then you get no impressions. If you're going to do it yourself, bid 1 penny more than the biggest number. And so if the biggest number is $2, bid $2.01. If in this example it's 47 cents, so I would bid 0.48 is what I would bid. And you won't even pay that much. You'll usually pay about this. It's really odd. Facebook is odd. You'll usually pay about the suggested bid or sometimes even less. But again, if you just bid the suggested bid, you won't get any impressions. But here's why I like optimize CPM. When you do optimize CPM, you're getting charged for impressions, and what Facebook does is they actually optimize your ad for you. So if you're just doing clicks to website and then you pick how much you're bidding, basically Facebook doesn't optimize your ad at all. They just, let's say you're targeting 100,000 people, they just show your ad to those 100,000 people, and they're like, whatever happens from these 100,000 people. But if you do optimized CPM, what Facebook does is they actually optimize your ad, showing your ads to the people who are most likely to do the desired outcome, whether that's most likely to become a lead if you do through conversions, most likely to click. So you might pay a little bit more by having Facebook decide how much to pay, but you're also going to get more clicks, and you're going to get better clicks and better quality traffic. That's one thing I've noticed. Again, don't take anything I say as gospel. Don't be like, Landon's the guru, he's tested it, this is what I'm going to do. No, don't do that. Nothing I say is gospel, and it's different in every situation, right? And so just kind of look at it, take my opinion, and say, hey, he's tested it, but you know what, I'm going to do something different and test something else. That's totally fine. It won't hurt my feelings for you to test different things. Test like crazy. Test everything, because until you test, you don't know for sure. So I would test. But I like to do optimize CPM because Facebook, so basically, again, Facebook, and so I don't do manually set up bids. I do use default bid, and then Facebook decides how much I pay, and they optimize my ads for me automatically. And that is how, and then so after you create your ad, now let's say I wanted to create a new ad group. Here's the cool thing about the Power Editor. You don't have to go back and create everything. All you have to do is, there's a little button here that says duplicate, right? So here's the create ad button. It's like a little plus sign. And then there's a button right next to the plus sign that says duplicate. It's right there. if you click that, you can actually duplicate that ad. And so what I'm doing, we have the use existing campaign, the WooCar webinar one, and then it says choose an ad set. I want to create a new ad set, again, if I'm going to do target Apple. So I'm going to create a new ad set, Apple. I'm going to click create. So it's creating this new ad set. It's creating this new ad under this new ad set. And then we'll just have to rename the ad, but it's automatically duplicating it for me. So let me just kind of show you what I mean here. Okay, and then we just go back. I'll rename this one Apple, and as you can see now, I now have an identical ad under Apple and then one under Best Buy. So now if I wanted to go target Apple, I would just go to the audience and I would just change it from Best Buy to Apple. And then once you have it created, once your ads are all created and everything in the Power Editor, there's a button up here that says Upload Changes. Upload changes. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that and kind of show you. So as you can see right here, it has all of our ads that we've made changes to. I'm not going to click continue because I don't want to upload this campaign. It was just a test and example. But you just click continue, and they would upload your ads straight to your ads manager inside of Facebook, and your ads would go live at the day and time you tell your ads to go live. Does that make sense to everybody? Let me check and see comments, questions. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yes, 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 beauty, beauty, beauty. Speaking from tree, Landon is saving us literally hundreds of hours. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being on here tonight. Christy says, this is my first foray into Facebook ads. Wow, learning so much. Thank you so much for being on here tonight, Christy. Lloyd says, pretty rad. Julianne, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, I'm learning so much. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being on here tonight. Now, what I'm going to do, if you have any questions, you can kind of start thinking of them. What I'm going to do, don't type them yet, because we're going to do two things. Number one, I'm going to show you the images. Number two, I'm then going to hand it over to Brent, and he's going to talk to you about some really ninja cool stuff, and then we're going to do a combined Q&A. So hang tight, because now I want to show you image stuff. This is gangster. If you're loving it so far, give me a I'm loving it in the comments. If you're like getting massive value, loving it, awesome. Okay, so here's what I use to create my images. Let me just go here. Okay, so here's what I use to create my images. If you want to write this down, and I would, it's called Canva, and you can find it. It's 100% free. They do have things in there that you can like buy and stuff. It's kind of like one of those apps that you download for your iPhone where it's free, but inside the app you can then like buy stuff, like one of those games where you can like buy upgrades and stuff with real money. That's kind of how it is. Like it has like templates and backgrounds and images that you can use for free, and then they have other pictures that cost you like $1 to use and stuff. If you want to use them, you can like buy the rights to them, but they're all cheap. It's not like going to one of those sites where it's like $150 to use one of the stock photos or anything. It's all really cheap. And you have a ton of stuff. I haven't paid for a single image there, and I've created some really cool ads. So I'm going to show you how to use it. Again, it's canva.com. It's spelled canva.com. Canva. 100% free, and it's awesome. I've also used like GIMP and Photoshop. I like Canva the best. It's the easiest to use. It's literally drag and drop, and it's awesome. So let me kind of show you how to use it. So I'm on Canva's site right here. As you can see, I'm logged in here at the top, and as you can see, it has like different sizes of images. So like you can create an image for like a menu, a presentation, which would be like a PowerPoint presentation. They have a Facebook cover photo. Like if you want to design a Facebook cover, they have that here. They have a regular Facebook post. They have an Instagram post if you want to make an image that fits perfectly in Instagram. They've got blog graphics, all sorts of stuff. They've got Twitter stuff. They've got Pinterest, right? If you're using Pinterest and you want to create, it has the Pinterest, the perfect size of Pinterest image to use. It has everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this little thing all the way over to the right. And on the very far right, you can see this. It says Facebook ad. And what this will do is will create an image that is the perfect size for a Facebook ad. So I'm just going to click on it and open up the Facebook ad option here. And again, images are so important because it's like the biggest part of your ad. And again, I was super surprised to find out that leaving, like here's the ad, I left the top the same, the headline the same, the description the same, everything the same in a different image, and I would get dramatically more clicks from a different image. right? Like the image. And another thing that I've noticed, and this is really powerful too, is like after a while your ad will begin to get saturated, especially if you're spending a lot of money. Like I'm dropping $300 a day. If you're spending $300 a day, a lot of people are going to see your ad very, very quickly. And so what would happen is your ad will sort of begin to saturate a little bit to where it's not going to get as high of a click-through rate anymore. But one thing I've noticed is that whenever that happens, let's say my ad begins to saturate a little bit, not getting as high of a click-through rate, and click-through rates on Facebook are everything because you're paying per 1,000 impressions, which means that you're paying a fixed amount. This is a fixed cost. So let's say you're paying $10 per 1,000 impressions to keep it like the math simple. You're paying $10 per 1,000. That means for every 1,000 people to see your ad, you're paying $10, which means if you get one click from every 1,000 impressions, you're paying $10 for that click. If you're getting $2 or 2 clicks for every 1,000 impressions, you're paying $5 a click. If you're getting 10 clicks per 1,000 impressions, you're then paying only $1 per click. So your click-through rate on Facebook ads is literally everything. The higher the click-through rate, the cheaper your ad cost is going to be. It's the most important thing. And so one thing I've noticed is that the ad, let's say the ad starts to saturate a little bit. Well, I can leave everything the same, right? Here's the ad. I can leave everything the same on the ad that's working really well, and then just change out the image. And you know what? It's like a brand new ad. It's like it's brand new. It gets high click-through rates again. And so just something to consider as you go about creating gangster awesome Facebook ads. So as you can see, this is the size image that a Facebook ad is. And what we can see over here on the side, and I'm not gonna give you everything. Canva has awesome tutorial videos with graphic designers who are way better than me. I am not a graphic designer. I know little tiny bits about graphic design. It's not my forte. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through it so you can see how it works. If you really want to dive in deep into Canva, they have a ton of really good tutorial videos. So as you can see here, we have like different kind of like background images we can use. So I'll just kind of show you like an example. So like let's say let me kind of find one I like here. Let me find one I like. Doop doop doop. Let's say, like, this is kind of cool, okay? So, like, and you just kind of click it, and it just, like, automatically drags it over there. And I think this one costs money. Yeah, if you want to use this one, it costs $1 to use it. So that's why there's, like, these, like, stripes on it so that I can't, like, screenshot it. It costs a little bit of money. I can probably find a free one that doesn't. So here's a free one, the cabana, right? This is a free thing, and basically, so it, like, creates the background image and everything for you, and then it has, like, text on here, right? So, like, you could write, you know, something like, get cash. This is, like, I wouldn't use these exact words. Oh, are we still on and stuff? I just heard a clicking sound. Okay, cool. Okay, we're still good. Okay. So let me go back here. So cabana, and I wouldn't use these exact words because they're not that creative, but you can kind of catch my drift on how to use it. So we could do get cash back online. Online. Get cash back online. Doop doop doop. We can change up the fonts, right? Whatever font you want. I'm going to make the font a little bit smaller. So we can put get cash back online. This isn't a very good example because that's not a very good looking ad. It doesn't stand out. This is kind of like a cooler ad, a cooler background. So we could kind of get rid of like this stuff. This is one that's kind of designed for like an event, but you could kind of use this ad and you could write, you know, like get cash back online, something like that, you know, get cash back online. And you could have words on the image, and then people would see that, and whether it's in, you know, the news feed or it's on the right side, right, they're still going to be able to read it and see it, and it'll still be like standing out really well. And so I kind of like that. And that's not all you can do. We can also add whatever kind of text we want. Let me also show you. I mean, there's so many different things. You can also upload your own images. Like I've used this Facebook ad as an example, and it's a little too big, but okay. So I've used this Facebook ad, and I believe let me actually start over. I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'll kind of show you this Facebook ad that I've used, because the image is so important. So I love lifestyle pictures. Lifestyle pictures get a super high click-through rate. So we have like layouts, and I'm going to scroll down past all of the images, And once we get past the images, you'll see like different layouts we can use. So let me kind of show you what I mean here. And then we're going to hand it over to Brent. And so you can see there are like hundreds and hundreds of different pictures you can use. Okay, so now we're getting into like layouts. These are kind of like layouts. So basically, like here's a layout where we could like drag and drop one square picture and one like small picture. So I'm just going to use this layout right here. And now this is like a layout. So it's basically one picture for the entire ad. And then I'm just going to kind of put that over here and just kind of make this bigger to fit the entire screen here. And boom. Facebook ad. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Sorry about that, guys. I don't know where my ad just went. There we go.
It's kind of quirky,
so
but if you drag it around a little bit, it's
What's that, bro?
I was going to say that I use Canva all the time as well. It's kind of quirky, but if you drag your picture around, sometimes it'll replace that background image.
Yeah, usually it does do that. I don't know why it wasn't doing that for me. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just kind of use it. But then, so after you have your picture, you can add some text. So like I could kind of move our faces up a little bit, and you guys kind of get the idea. So then we could add in some like cool text, like here's how I generate leads on the internet, or here's how. Whatever kind of words you want to use, you guys kind of get the idea though. So there's also like millions of different images you can use. So let me kind of delete all this stuff that I have in here now. And so there's like all these different images. You can like search for images. Like there's tons and tons of stuff you can do. You can add in like frames. So you could add in like a little like circle picture of you, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, like if you wanted to have just like a picture of you as like a circle, you could drag your picture over. Let me grab one of me right here, so I could drag that picture of me over, and then I could have a different background. There's like tons of stuff you can do with this. Again, I would watch. They have really, really good tutorials with really good graphic designers showing you ideas and ways to use it. But this is how I create my images for Facebook ads, and they work really, really, really well. The ad that I showed you earlier that's getting like $2 leads generated like 200 and something leads in like 3 days, I used an image that I created in Canva. So it works super, super well. And I'm going to see, let me jot here, beware of the 20% rule. Yes, that is a rule. So Susan says, beware of the 20% rule, which is real. So basically, your ad can only be 20% text. Now, the cool thing about the Power Editor is the Power Editor will actually automatically tell you if you've used more than 20% text. If you're using the Ads Manager, the regular Ads Manager, what you can do is you can go to Google and just type in, I think I type in like 20% text. Type in that, and there should be a place that you can upload. Yeah, here it is, 20%rule.info. So you upload your image, and it'll tell you if it has 20% text or more. Again, if you're using the Power Editor, you won't have to worry about that. It'll tell you. I usually try to keep it to like this kind of size right here. So like whether that's like down here or in the middle, like not much more than that. If your entire ad is text, it won't get approved. Let me just see if there's any questions. Have you ever used stock images Facebook provides? No, I have never used the stock images Facebook provides, and I probably wouldn't suggest any kind of stock photos. Julian says, love this, can't wait to create some ad pics. Awesome, awesome, glad you're liking it. And again, if you want to get a full tutorial, just go to canva.com and you can go through their stuff. They're really good. I'm not. But this is what I use to create images, and it works really, really, really well. And so, Brent, was there anything you wanted to say about anything I've taught tonight before you dive into your stuff, or any questions that you had that I wasn't clear on, anything like that, bro?
Yeah, I'll just highlight a couple of the things you said that I really would want to point out to make note of. One, like you said, if you hear some guru or expert telling you like this is the way you always want to do your ad, like always set it up this way, don't listen, because it depends on every situation. Your ad, who you're targeting, what you're trying to market them, it all changes. So always just know that, like, you can listen to what Landon says and use it, but know that you just need to go test it. for yourself. Be creative, come up with your own headlines, your own images, your own text. Just take what you learn as a guideline to then go be creative and come up with your own ideas. So don't ever think, just because I heard this person say this is how they do it, that it's the only way. Like, in every situation, you just want to test and test and test. And so, like, when you broke out your ad sets to like Apple and I forgot what you were, iPhone or whatever you were breaking it out, I would also break out, if you've got a niche that you're running ads to, like you're trying to promote a webinar, you're trying to get them to opt into your list. If it's working, you want to dig in and find which part of that group is. I think they're saying that the screen's locked on your face instead of mine, but
okay, we'll see.
That's okay. They don't really need to see my face, anyways. But
be good now, bro.
Good. But yeah, if you have a niche that's working, then start creating more ad sets to break out, like by male, female, or break it out to age groups of 20 to 30, 30 to 40. And if you're running that ad over time, you'll be able to see that maybe females are converting into leads better, or people from age 20 to 30 are converting into leads. So, you can always break out the ad sets into more and more detail to, see maybe more of inside that group what's converting. So always test. Let's see, what else were you talking about? With Canva, I really use that a lot because I can do graphic design, but it's so much quicker with Canva just to put a few ads in there and just pop them up on Facebook real quick. So it's a big time saver, even if you do know how to do graphic design. And then I would also say, along the lines of using Canva, every time you have any kind of content that you want to share, like say you're doing it on a Facebook page, also repurpose that. Use it on Pinterest, on Twitter, on Instagram, on your blog. Use it in multiple places. So if you have some good content, and I'll get into what I do real quick here to make sense of it. Whenever you have good content, you can save time by using that, repurposing it, making an image. Like Canva has images for Pinterest, for Twitter, for Instagram. They have all for Facebook posts, for blog posts. So you can take the same graphics inside of Canva and make it into those different templates for your different platforms. So always test. And then one thing that I would really put a plug in for watching Landon's training in Team WooCar if you haven't, because what he talks about in there, I think that's more important than a lot of other Facebook trainings out there. He focuses on really finding the avatar, the person that you want to market to, because I think that's really more important than the ads, the how-tos of the ads themselves. Because he just went through how to set up your ads, and that's a big time saver, but those are things you probably could figure out on your own through trial and error. But what he really, if you go through his training and you apply what he teaches, the best part of it all is learning how to think about your custom target, like customize that target to who you really want to go after, who you want to speak to, because your ads are going to convert so much better. You can have just the right image, you can have just the right headline, all of that, but if you're not speaking to the person that you're trying to speak to and you're not targeting that right audience, it won't work. So really take that time to go through his training to learn how to go through that process of who is it that I want to target, and then how can I find the right people on Facebook that I want to get my ad in front of who are going to resonate with that same avatar that I've created. So I think that's the most important part of all of it, is just being very specific about who you want to target, because you can try to be very broad. Like say you want to go after the network marketing niche and just you put in an interest of Jim Rohn. You've got this very broad audience. It might work, but you could take the time to come up with that exact avatar of the person, kind of come up with a story of, he's 20 to 30, he's, just started online, looking to build his network marketing business on the internet. You come up with a story of that person that you want to make your ad really stand out to, and then you can target a much tighter group of people than just some big broad niche of Jim Rohn. Does that make sense, Landon? You have
Yeah, yeah. No, that's like that is the most with any kind of and like that's a principle that holds true everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're doing Facebook ads, YouTube SEO, getting stuff ranked in YouTube or Google, blogging. It doesn't matter what kind of marketing you're doing. If you aren't clear, like whenever I go to write an ad, I don't think like I'm writing this ad for all Jim Rohn fans. I write like my ad for one specific purpose, for one specific person. Sorry about that. I write every ad for just one person, so I zero in on who's this person. And to give you an example of why this works really, really well. So a lot of people are like, well, if I like write my ad for like one person or like anything, if I make my video for one person or I create this product for like one specific person, then what about like the rest of the people? I don't want just one person to buy it. I want everyone to buy it. Well, here's the truth. Here's the truth. If you write your ad for one person, even people who aren't that exact person will still be interested in buying it. Like I have my own training on Facebook ads as an example, and it's really created for network marketers because that's where I come. That's my background. That was where I got started in my business 5 years ago. Was in a regular network marketing business, and so I created the ad, and my avatar was like, I'm making this ad for this course for struggling network marketers who want to learn how to generate more leads and enroll more reps into their network marketing business. That's who I created the training for, right? And then I was really surprised because people who aren't network marketers even bought my training. And they're like, well, if this works for network marketing, I can take the principles and apply it to other things. Now, if I hadn't have been clear on targeting network marketers, no one would have bought it. Not network marketers or anybody else, but because I was clear, it converts really high with network marketers and semi-well with people who aren't even that exact person that I'm targeting. So it's really important. Like one thing I teach my people to do is I teach my people to write out their perfect day. Like because if you ask someone, what's your perfect life? They really just kind of talk about like stuff. They're like, well, my perfect life would be having the big house, having the nice car. But if you ask people what their perfect day is like, they talk about the experience of life. And so what I did whenever I was first getting clear on all of this stuff was I wrote out my perfect day. And then what I did is I got an avatar who I believe I named John, and I wrote out a perfect day for my avatar. Like, what does my avatar wear? What does he look like? How old is he? And every time I went to write copy, I'd write it for John, right? For that one person. And that's really, really important for all kinds of advertising. Did you have anything else about anything I talked about? Guys, if you have any questions about anything I talked about, again, save them for a little bit because Brent is going to be sharing with you a super cool strategy. It's a little bit more long-term, but it's awesome. And when you master what he's going to be sharing with you, it's like you have your own asset. It's almost like you have like your own email list on Facebook. It's an asset that you'll have forever, and so it's really, really powerful. But anything else you wanted to mention about anything I taught before you hop in, Brent?
I think that's good. Test everything. Don't take what one person says as gospel and just go with it. Like, try your own things. But yeah, everything else is really good. So I'm going to hop over to a screen share here real quick and show you kind of what I do. And let's see here if we can get this to work. So earlier, I will start with this. I was on this Hangout when we first started, and of course you saw how it glitched out on us, and Google did something crazy, and so we we had to hop off and start over. And after that, I could not get back on my PC, so I went over to my wife's Apple, and it works flawlessly. So I don't know if that's a sign that I need to switch my computer over to a Mac or not, but maybe so. So anyways, can you hear me and see my screen on Facebook, Landon?
Yeah, brother, you're good,
Okay.
dude. And definitely get a Mac, bro. I mean, You're not a real marketer till you have a Mac.
I've been hanging on as long as I could to my PC that still works. But anyway, so I don't want to take too long since we've got a lot of good stuff here. On the customer side of, like, if a lot of people want to know how can I run Facebook ads to get Doobly customers, and I will be fully transparent and say I've run a lot of different ads to a lot of different things, And I've tried ads to Doobly, and I haven't been able to get them profitable to run an ad straight to getting somebody to opt in to become a Doobly, like get a lead and then try to market Doobly to them. Mainly because I haven't been able to get like really good conversions on the front end of getting people's attention and trying to get them to opt into a list that's just about cashback. So I'm going to go about this a little bit of a different way and show you what I've done in the past and how I can apply it, how I have applied it to getting Doobly customers. So in the past, I've built pages. Here I'm on a page that you can see. It's just an example of one that I don't currently put any effort into, but I used to post some stuff to it. But it's just an example, so I don't give away the pages that sorry, clicked on the wrong button there. I don't want to give away like the pages that really are converting for me really well right now, because people usually go and just copy them. But so here's a page. I just made it around an interest. You can pick anything that you are interested in, anything you're passionate about, something that you could post content every day to and not get tired of. So I made a page. I just called it I Love Barbecue. And then every day, like I said, I haven't put much into this one lately. I just posted something here while we were listening to Landon, just as an example. Just post an image that has to do, like, so you can post images, links to good blog posts. You can link to all kinds of things to build up engagement, get people engaged, commenting, sharing good stuff that you have on that excuse me, on that page. So here's an example back around Christmas on this page. I posted a picture of, Santa Claus barbecue, and I kind of connected it to cashback. Got creative, had a link that went over to a domain that I owned, and it connected onto a capture page that got people to, to opt in and find out more about Doobly. So what I'm getting at is I make a page. I've got dozens of these about different things I'm interested in, and I just build up followings. I use ads on Facebook like Landon talked about, except I use the ads that are for likes, to get likes. So I build up some likes to the page. You can see here I had a couple thousand, which really isn't that much. You want the page to eventually get really big, maybe hundreds of thousands of fans. And a lot of this goes back to the same things Landon talked about. When you set up your ad, really target the people who are going to be interested in whatever that page is about. So in this case, I made the page about barbecue. I can post content all day long. I'll just scroll down here through it really quickly. You can see just different pictures. Maybe I would link to a good blog post, or I'd have a good recipe. Like in this case, it's about barbecuing, so I might give them recipes on how to barbecue better, or link to good videos. And so what I'm thinking here, like Landon said, this is long term. When we have the Wave system to use with Team WooCar, we're going to be able to link to videos, and get our affiliate link to videos that are on WooCar.com. So I'm thinking ahead of time, how can I build up a following in these pages around interests that I have that I can post content to all day long? And then when I have affiliate links that I can use through the Wave system, I can put videos on this page just all day long that are linked over to Wave or over to WooCar.com. And however that works, we don't know yet. We'll know more when we get the details for it. But we'll be able to make money getting people to view. So I could put videos about barbecuing on this page all day long. People would click and go see those. And so you can do the same. There's some really good training in Team WooCar on Twitter and Pinterest, and they're using those platforms to build a following around a certain area that you know about. And I'm just doing the same here with Facebook. I'm building up pages that are around an interest group, and then I can post content to those. And there's lots of other ways to make money with those pages. You could do, T-shirts, and you could do CPA offers and everything, but you've got a following here, and almost everything out there, there are stores inside of Doobly that offer products to that niche. Like even here with this I Love Barbecue page, there's cooking.com that I think offers like 10% cash back. I could go find stores inside of Doobly and I could take screenshots of how much cash back is offered and offer that. Be creative, come up with ways to market that to make it enticing to your fans, and put those photos and those links into your page. So I guess the advertising route that I'm talking about here, by using Facebook ads to get likes to your page, is kind of an indirect route, but you're basically going about it, getting fans to the page, and then building engagement on that page. Then you can post links to whatever you want on there that can make you money, like linking them to the Wave videos or to Doobly or whatever else you choose. So I hope that helps on that part of like what I do. So I'll do the same thing with Twitter, build a following around people that are interested in a certain niche inside of Twitter, or as like everybody overseas outside of the U.S. says, niche, if I pronounced that incorrectly. And then I'm going to hop over to another tab real quick, show you real quick something inside of the Ads Manager that is a pretty cool little tool. I won't go into too in-depth because it's something that you need to just kind of play around with and get used to. But if you go into what?
Real quick, before you dive in and show people ads and stuff, hold on, let me put my camera back on. But before you dive in and show people ads and stuff, what would you say is like a good kind of interest to target? So, like, it's kind of like what people like. Is there like a rule of thumb that needs to be a certain size? Like, would, you did barbecue, would like fitness be good, or is that too big? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so you want to actually, barbecue might not be the absolute best example, because more specific, that's something people are more passionate about, and the group of people that are fans gather tightly around, they want to talk about more, is good. So more specific is better. So it could be like a popular TV show, and you want to create a fan page for a TV show, or more like if you're thinking fitness, maybe a certain maybe inside of fitness, zero in on maybe like CrossFit, or a certain kind of fitness that people really get passionate about. So anything that can be more specific is better, because you're going to get better engagement inside of that page.
Gangster, dude. Okay, so basically how the strategy works, if I'm understanding clearly, is we'll be able to create these pages. We run ads to the pages to get likes, which you're about to show us here in a second. And then long term, we're going to have thousands of followers. And then let's say we did a fitness one, and we targeted CrossFit as an example. So we have this CrossFit fan page. We have thousands of people who like this CrossFit fan page, who love CrossFit. And then every day we could post stuff from the Wave system of CrossFit videos for those people and then earn commissions on that stuff?
Yep, pretty much. That's cool. A pretty good explanation. Awesome. So, yeah, so the ads, the ads aren't complicated at all.
We aren't seeing your screen, brother.
Okay, cool. I'll get there in a second. So the ads for likes, to get likes to your page, aren't complicated at all. You can take what Landon taught you. Apologize, my nose is stopped up. I've been getting over a cold here, so I sound a little nasally. But yeah, I would run a like campaign to just get likes. You go in through the ad process that Landon did, same way, but it's real simple. You just target the interest of people that you want to show your ad to, come up with a good picture in Canva, and all you have to say for text is like, do you like barbecue? If so, click like. It's real simple. You don't have to get complicated with it. And you get likes you could get them for a couple pennies a piece if it's a less competitive niche. Something more competitive like fitness or health, probably going to pay 10 to 15 cents per like. So I'm going to do a screen share again here. And so when you go into Ads Manager, this is not setting up a specific ad. This is just a tool that I think you should check out and use. Go into Ads Manager, and on the left-hand side, you're going to see in the left column, Audience Insights. And it's going to take you to a page like this. And what I'll do is click on Everyone on Facebook. It's going to take you to a page that's going to give you all kinds of insights about people that are on Facebook. And so what we're going to use this tool for, you can use it on the recruiting side, like with what Landon talked about, creating ads to go after your avatar of the person that you want to speak to get them onto a webinar, get them onto your lead capture page. Or you can use it on the customer side if you're trying to build a following around a certain interest. But what we're going to do, once you're on this Audience Insights page, scroll down, and you'll see there's all kinds of things you can customize. But what we're going to start with is just by putting in an interest. And so, like if we have an example of like what we just talked about, CrossFit. I might type in CrossFit. You see they start coming up with a list of different things. So I'll click on CrossFit. Now what I'm getting at here is, I'm kind of going about this backwards, but what I'm getting at is I'm using Audience Insights to kind of hone in on a more targeted group of people, because CrossFit might be just a big, broad audience that if I run ads to, it won't convert as well as if I speak to a more specific group of people. People that Facebook thinks like CrossFit, they could have just commented on a post about CrossFit. They could have just, in a post, said the word CrossFit, and they didn't mean it. They may not be a real rabid, interested, passionate follower of CrossFit, but I want my ad to go after people that really love CrossFit. So what I'm doing is I type in that interest here, I hit enter, and it's going to come up with some results on the right side. And up here at the top, I'm going to click on page likes, because I'm using the data that Facebook's giving me to come up with a more specific person. So I scroll down, there's top categories, I kind of go past that, and I see down here is this section called page likes. And what this is telling me is it's saying people who like CrossFit are, there's this affinity over here on the right column. It's telling me that the person who likes CrossFit is also 6.4 times more likely than the average Facebook user to like this other page called Eat to Perform. But I might scroll down, I see on down here, Muscle Farm or Testosterone Nation, they've got higher numbers. So what I could then do is go back up here, scroll up a little bit to the interests, and say like that Eat to Perform, they're 6.4 times more likely to like that page than the CrossFit. So I'll start to type in Eat to Perform. Not all of the times will they come up, but sometimes they do. Sometimes these pages that are down here don't always show up in the interest. But I'll click that, type that in, click enter, then I'll go back here and I'll click X on that CrossFit to get rid of the previous interest. And every time you dig in, you kind of go down a layer, you dig a little deeper. So now I'm on the interest of Eat to Perform, and you can see more targeted pages come up that have higher and higher affinity numbers. So like here's the WOD Superstore, which if you know anything about CrossFit, WOD is I think the workout of death or something like that. So then you'll dig in, just keep going deeper. So I might type in, like what I'm looking at here is scrolling through and seeing these people are even more and more likely to like these pages than the average Facebook user. So if I ran an ad to get likes and I had a CrossFit page, a CrossFit fan page or something like that, do be careful with trademarks and everything. Don't appear to be a certain official page. Just always use like fan club or something like that. That's just a side note. So I might then have a better ad, a better targeted ad that's going to get more response, cheaper clicks, cheaper likes, because I'm targeting something like the WOD Superstore than just CrossFit in general. Does that make sense, Landon?
Yeah, dude, totally makes sense, man. I mean, it's like one of those things where whenever you get into interests that are so big that it's like CrossFit as an example is like so giant that someone could like a random post with CrossFit, but not actually be into CrossFit. You'll also it's kind of like a let's give like another example. Brent, are you into like country music at all? Could you name some country music people?
Yeah, a few.
Okay, so if you were, let's say you wanted to build, a country music fan page for like country music lovers, right? Like that was like the fan page you wanted to create. Well, you'd basically be like, okay, so this is for country music lovers as your fan page, and then you'd want to start generating likes to the fan page. Well, what a lot of people would do is they would target like the major country music stars. Like, who's a major country music star, bro?
Like George Strait, classic.
Okay, I know nothing about country music, but like a major country music star. Some of you in the comments could like mention a major star, except the problem is with some of those major stars is that they're so mainstream that someone could randomly like it because they hear it on like the regular radio station without being into country music, without being like a country music lover because they're like a mainstream person. Whereas if you targeted like a smaller country music person, to where the only time anyone, like the only people that know this country music person is like if they're into country music, right? Like it would be, let me give you an example. So like if we're targeting, we want to get network marketers in our business or entrepreneurs in the business. Well, we could target like the personal development people. Like you have Tony Robbins as an example, big in personal development. People that are into personal development are more likely to join a network marketing business. They're more open to new ideas. They're entrepreneur type spirits. They're just more into it, right? Well, if you targeted Tony Robbins, it's not that you're not going to get good results, but the problem with it is that Tony Robbins is so big and so mainstream that someone could like Tony Robbins' fan page or like something about Tony Robbins or whatever and be included in that interest of Tony Robbins on Facebook without actually being in like big into personal development, big into Tony Robbins. Whereas if you target some of the more smaller personal development people, like another example would be, let's say you wanted to do a TV show. Right, and this is really important because this is big with Facebook targeting, and it's a lot what Brent was just talking about. So let's say you want to target like a TV show. So let's say you want to do a page about the Big Bang Theory. Well, when you're targeting the Big Bang Theory, you could obviously target, the main character of the Big Bang Theory, like Sheldon, right? Like everyone knows Sheldon Cooper of the Big Bang Theory, but the problem with that is everyone knows Sheldon Cooper of the Big Bang Theory. So they might have the interest on Facebook of Sheldon Cooper without being a Big Bang Theory lover. But if you go to like some of the like lower down people in Big Bang Theory who aren't real famous, to where like if they like that person, they have to be into it. If that kind of makes sense. The more targeted you are, the more specific you are with your targeting, the cheaper your clicks will be. And this holds true if you're doing Brent's strategy, which is awesome. Like Brent, you're blowing me away, bro. I've never even used the audience insights, so you're totally blowing me away. But this goes if you're doing Brent's strategy or if you're doing mine. The more specific you are with your targeting and the more specific your ad is to that group you're targeting, the higher clicks you'll get. And again, what is everything with Facebook ads? Your click-through rate. More clicks equals less money spent, which is amazing. Back to you, Brent.
That really covers it. I think it can be complicated to try to understand the audience insights at first. It's hard to convey exactly what I'm doing with it, but you put it into very good words there. Make sense of it. So just get into audience insights, try it out. Just play around with it. Think of an interest that you want to go after, that you want to create a page around, and just dig into the insights and find a more specific, dig into the layers, go deeper and deeper, like he's saying, to the point where you get to, here's a Facebook page that if people like this page, they most definitely like the interest that I'm trying to target my ads for.
Yeah.
So that's all I have on that.
Cool.
I think go to Q&A if we have some people who have some
Perfect,
questions.
bro. Yeah, dude, thanks so much for sharing, man. That's an awesome strategy. A couple of things. Number one, if you have any questions, start writing them right now. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but start writing your questions right now. If you have any questions about creating niche fan pages, if you have any questions about Facebook ads or anything that I shared with you earlier, start jotting them down. Any questions at all. It can be about Facebook ads. It can be about enrolling people into a business. I'm good with that kind of stuff. Anything along that kind of thing, jot the question now. What I want to do is I brought up just like a blank page here, and I want to kind of give you guys like a call to action, a sort of game plan, because whenever I watch a training, as soon as the training ends, my question is always, like, that's great, but now what do I do next? And so I want to help you answer that question. Is like, okay, so now what do I do? Well, so number one, we went over the training, if you remember my part from earlier, and I'm going to make this font a little bit bigger so that you can actually see it. Let's make this like 18. There we go. So number one, we went over how to create like customer ads or reps ads. So here's what I would do if I were you at the end of this training tonight. Number one is I would decide if you want to do, I would create one kind of ad like my way, like one kind of ad that's like straight direct response. You're getting the click straight to the lead pages, right? So the first thing, if you do want to do that strategy, what's the first thing we have to do? Well, number one, we can't do the strategy without like lead pages or click funnels. So your first step after the strategy that I taught you earlier is to get click funnels and or, that's number one. Number two, clear with your avatar. So and I would just start with one. Obviously, you can do customer ads and you can do rep ads. There's no limits to the amount of ads that you can create with Facebook. To start, I would just kind of pick one to kind of get your feet wet, to kind of test things. And so get clear with your avatars. This, I wouldn't just, if to target the Doobly customer as an example, I wouldn't just like do like, you know, online shoppers and target all online shoppers. Like I would target a specific you know, company that we offer cash back with, or a specific industry, like get cash back on your travel and target Expedia or something like that. And so get clear with, you know, okay, so here's who I want to target. Get clear with who that is, and you know, like what kind of words do those people use? What's like their jargon? Like in network marketing, what kind of words do we use? We use words like sponsor, recruit, enroll, generate leads, generate traffic. That's some of our jargon. And so you want to kind of find out the jargon of whoever you're targeting, right? So get clear with who your avatar is. If you haven't been through my training yet, or maybe you did a while ago, and I go through a training where I give you 4 questions that I ask myself before I write any of my ads. And so you can actually go find that training inside of WooCar. It's free, I believe, for WooCar members, I think. So you can go in and you can find that training. So number one is you get the click funnels, or you get lead pages, whichever you decide. Number two, you get clear with who your avatar is. Like, who am I going to target? Who are the competitors of? You could even target competitors of Doobly, right? Like you could target like Ebates, or whatever it is, not Ebates. Is it Ebates? Whatever, the other like cashback kind of places. Target them and be like, hey, get more cashback, or whatever our specific thing is with Doobly. Or you can target the competitors or the companies that we help people get cash back with. So get clear on who this is exactly, right? Once you get clear on who that is, number 3 is I would create your image first. So I would go to canva.com and create an image that you're going to be using for your ad, and go to let's see, first ad, and just kind of see how it does. Now, the first ad that I ever did, it didn't do well, right? Like my first ad bombed. It sucked. And you know what? That's okay, because everyone starts there. Don't be that guy who's like, it didn't work the first time. That means it's never going to work, right? There is no such thing as failure. There's only such thing as feedback. And so whenever you get a result, it's just the result. Even if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. It's not like it's never going to work. It just means it didn't work that time. What do I need to do differently, right? So whenever you're running your ads, you're going to be like, you're going to be seeing different numbers, right? Some different data. So here's some important numbers when you're running ads. And again, if you have any questions, begin asking them now, and I'll catch up to them. But this is some important stuff too. So when you're running ads, there are some numbers that are important. I don't get all caught up in like CPC. What's CPC? That's cost per click. I don't really care how much money I'm paying per click. It doesn't really bother me. And then you obviously have how much you're paying per lead. Now this is a number that I follow very, very closely because it's important, right? So like an example would be if you ran an ad that wasn't specific at all about what you're offering. It's just like super mysterious. you might get a high click-through rate and a high, a lot of people clicking on it, so a cheap click. But if it isn't congruent with your lead capture page, it might not convert into leads very much. And so my price per lead to me is important, but it's not as important as this. What really matters the most, the only number that matters when you're doing your marketing, is how much does it cost to get a sale or to get a customer? How much does it cost to get a sale? That's the only number that matters. Well, I guess there's two numbers that matters. How much does it cost to get a sale, and how much is that sale worth to you, right? Like, let me give you an example. I sell a training on Facebook ads. It's $500. When I sell it, I make $500, and it's a good training, right? I make $500, which means that if I'm paying $2 per lead, I need to convert 1 out of every 250 leads into sales to break even, right? So like if I'm generating sales, if I'm generating like 1 in 25 leads buy, and then I'd be generating sales 1 in 25 leads at $2 per lead, that means it would cost me $50 to generate a sale, and a sale is worth $500 to me, I'm profitable. So in the example with Doobly, it would be, okay, how much does it cost to get a VIP customer for Doobly? How much money am I spending? And again, as a VIP customer, you make $45 when you get a VIP customer. So your question is, how much does it cost to get that sale, and then how much is the sale worth to me? If you're paying more to get the sale than what the sale, like if you're paying $50 to acquire 1 VIP customer, then you're not profitable, you should can the ad, right? I would first look at leads, though. If you're getting leads for, I would say, $1 or $2 a lead, then I'd kind of keep running the ads. But that's important, right? So you're going to be accruing numbers, and look at the numbers to see what's happening. So go do these steps. Go to Facebook.com and create your first ad. I would do it tonight and have it go live tomorrow morning. Some people, they want to wait. You want to know what leaders do, what people who succeed do always. Always. They implement things quickly. Always. They just do. I don't know why they do it. They just do. Speed of implementation is important. Leaders implement quickly. They don't wait. You know what people who wait do? They don't make money. People who make money, they implement quickly. It's just what they do. Speed of implementation is important. I wouldn't wait till tomorrow to place your first ad. I would do it tonight. Okay, so create your ad and kind of get some data, right? And again, if it doesn't work, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. My first ads didn't work, but I kept testing. I looked at the numbers and I said, okay, what's going wrong? Well, I'm getting clicks, but I'm not getting any leads. So what does that mean? I need to change up my capture page. Or I'm not getting any clicks. What does that mean? Well, I need to change up my ad. Or I'm getting clicks, I'm getting leads, but I'm not getting any sales. What does that mean? Well, maybe I need to make the ad more congruent with the sales process. Maybe the ad was too mysterious, right? Like when I was first getting started, I thought it was important to kind of be like mysterious. It's like if people are curious, they're going to click and they're going to become leads. But then over time, I realized I don't really care about getting clicks if they aren't going to buy. And so now I'm like super serious about everything that I'm doing, and I make sure that, like an example, for my webinar where I sell my Facebook training, I don't like tell people in the ad that this is a webinar where I'm going to be teaching them something. I don't say in the ad that this is a webinar where I'm going to teach you how to generate leads. I say on this webinar, I'm going to teach you how to generate leads with Facebook ads, which means that every single person who clicks on my ad knows what the webinar is going to be about. They know what I'm going to be selling them. So there's no like surprise. What do you mean he's teaching me Facebook ads? I didn't know. No, they know. It's congruent, right? And so make sure there's no surprises. Just a little side note. So next thing I would do. So this is how you create the ads that I taught. Now let's go to, so this is land and strategy. And again, there's no can do them both. It's not like do one or the other. No, you do both mine and Brent's strategy because they're very different. This is like sort of short term. Like you place the ads today and then you start getting clicks and leads and stuff. Brent's ad is a little bit more long term, but here's the truth, right? Some people are like, well, it's long term, so I'm not going to do it. Well, it's like the famous like Chinese quote when it was like, you know, when was the best time to plant a tree, and it was like 20 years ago, and the second best time is right now. So basically, if you don't start the long-term ad today, well, a year from now when the long-term ad could be crushing it for you, or 90 days from now when the long-term ad could be crushing it for you, but if you didn't start it, it's not going to be crushing it for you when you could have started it today. So I would start it now, even though it's a long-term strategy, to get it working now. Okay, so just kind of some steps, and Brent can maybe help out with some of the steps. My idea, Brent can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, is I would kind of create like 5 fan pages around like 5 different interests. Brent, is that like a good idea? What would you say to start?
Yeah, I would definitely start several pages because that goes back to the testing. You don't know which one's going to work out. You might have 5 great ideas, and you think that one of them is just going to hit it out of the park, and that's the one that will get 0 engagement. Like, you just don't know. So you test different ones, set up your pages, and you could go on YouTube and find out, like, click or type in how to set up Facebook pages. It's real simple. There'll be videos that walk you through the process. But yeah, just set up several different pages like you talk about. And also, one thing to go back on, like your strategy, how to tie that into building Facebook pages, I would use lead pages to try to offer once you start building up a following within your fitness page or your barbecue page or whatever, offer them to jump on your newsletter to get daily email updates if you choose to do something like that, because then you're getting those people that are Facebook fans to also become leads. You don't need a super fancy lead page. Just go in there, create an email opt-in page, add them to a list in GetResponse or Aweber or whatever, and then you've got all of your fans, not all, but a certain number of your fans also joining one of your lists. So you're building an asset that is not just on Facebook. You can also try to get them onto an email newsletter where you can control those leads a little better. And like you said, it is long term, so you're not going to see immediate results. So don't get discouraged by, I'm not making money tomorrow because I've got like 5 fans on my Facebook page, but I haven't made money from it. Like, you're going to have to build up thousands of fans over time. But I have some pages now that get dozens of likes per day without me running any ads to them. They're just found from people searching, from other people sharing. So over time, you'll create momentum if you're consistent. And I learned this from somebody, a very good mentor of mine, who said, like, the most consistent person always wins. If you just be consistent at whatever you're doing, even if it's like trying ads and you're following Landon's strategy, trying to run ads to get leads, to opt in, like to become reps in your business, even if you're failing, if you're just consistent with it, you try new things every day, you will eventually win. So, sorry to go off on a tangent there, but
you're totally good, dude. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I think I remember who said the most consistent person always wins quote.
He's
seems like a smart dude.
He's a pretty smart guy.
Okay, but yeah, totally agree, dude. Totally agree. You got to be crazy consistent. I was inconsistent in my business for a long time, and I struggled in a long time. Literally, the moment I got deadly consistent, where I was doing the same things every day, focusing on one goal, on one strategy, my business blew up, and I went from broke to 6 figures a year like that. And it was because I became consistent. So my recommendation would be to create 5 fan pages around 5 different interests. So you could, so I wouldn't do like 5 all around CrossFit. I would do like 5 around 5 different interests. So like bigger interests that are also like a sub-interest of an even bigger interest. So you'd have fitness. Don't just do all of fitness. Do like a sub-interest in it, like CrossFit. If you're doing country music, I wouldn't just do country music. Maybe, I don't know, Brent, can you do a specific person, or is there copyright infringement?
You can say certain person's fan club. I like to stay away from it though.
Okay, yeah, so don't do that idea. But you kind of get the drift where you could do like a cooking one, and it could be a certain kind of diet, as an example. Whatever it is, I would create 5 different fan pages around 5 different interests. And like Brent said, you just never know. It's kind of like in sales, where it's like the person you think has all the money and is going to buy doesn't, and it's like someone, and you just never know, right? You don't know which ones are going to work and which ones aren't. Don't prejudge what's going to work and what isn't. Create like around 5 different niches. And I know some of you are also doing, the strategies with Pinterest, and you're doing the Instagram and the Twitter and all of that. If you've already got some interest going with those audiences, I would just use those interests. And if you've only got 2, then you could do, just those 2 to start. That would create a couple of different ones so that you aren't just banking everything on one fan page working. You've got a couple of them rocking, because you just don't really know for sure what's going to work and what isn't. Number 2, you do create a
And
like
actually,
campaign. Brent,
while
go ahead, bro.
while I was going to say, while you type, it mutes out your sound, so you can't like type and talk at the same time.
Nice. Good call, bro.
Before I create the like ad, I would put a cover image, put a profile image. I would put like a good base amount of content on the page, maybe like 5 to 10 posts, some links to blog posts, links to videos, images. Images work really well on Facebook. Always put a little bit of text above it to ask a question, to get people to engage. But go ahead and load up your page with some content so that then when you run your like campaign, your like ad, people, if they click to see what your page is about, they see that there's something real there. So you've got a good start on content. And then after you've got your like campaign running, you can go back and add more content. On a page that I really have a lot of engagement with, I like to post 10 or 15 things per day at least.
10 to 15 a day?
You don't have to. But if you've got a lot of good engagement, that's good, because then you're going to be, not everybody is going to see all of your posts. That's just the way pages work. Only a certain percentage of people will see it, a small percentage. So if you post a lot of times per day, you can hit more of those people as they're on Facebook different times throughout the day.
Cool, brother. Cool. And then you did talk a little bit about a like campaign, which, just to reiterate, a like campaign is really, really easy. All you're basically doing is you're just like one thing I've learned from Jeff Johnson, who has a course like Traffic and Leads Academy, is he will make a statement and then say click like if you agree. So it would be like an example would be like CrossFit, and you can find like a quote like CrossFit is amazing, and this is a terrible example, but and you're saying CrossFit is amazing, click like if you agree, and then people are likely to click it. Or it could be like love CrossFit as much as I do, click like. It's really simple. It's just a short ad. Your only goal is just to get people to like the page. That's it. Because whenever you have people that like the page, you're sort of like building up a second list on Facebook of leads. Now, they aren't quite as good as leads because they're not going to see every post you make, just like Brent just mentioned. So they aren't going to be worth quite as much as leads, but leads also cost like $2 to $3. And a like, how much are you paying per like? Is it around like 10 cents?
I have one in a fitness niche that I pay about 15 cents per like, but they're highly targeted. They are very specific. Like the barbecue page. I have another one that's I love beer. I'll get those for 2 to 3 cents per like.
2 to 3 cents?
Yeah, some people could get down to a penny per like, but I wouldn't make that claim. It doesn't always happen very consistently.
Okay. So there's like a broad. It really depends on like the interest, how much people are going to be paying per like.
It does, and it kind of goes back to like what you were talking about. How a lot of people ask you, well, what's a good price to pay per click or per lead or like per whatever? What's a good click-through rate? It depends, because you might have dollar leads that they sound cheap, $1 per lead, but if they don't convert into buyers, then it doesn't mean anything. Or likewise, you could have a lead that costs you $10, but it always turns into good customers. So it just depends on what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Totally, dude. And to give you an example of why this is important, so I was having a conversation with a guy. It was like 2 months ago. I was having a conversation with a guy, and I was telling him about Facebook ads and stuff, and I was like, I pay like $2 to $3 to generate a lead, and he was like, what, $2 to $3? I would never pay $2 to $3 to generate a lead, right? Well, fast forward a couple of weeks ago when one of my good friends, he's actually a member of WooCar, so many of you know him, he ran a webinar selling one of his a training that he has, and he sold the training for $1,000. And leads, he generated, I believe it was about 200 leads. So basically 200 people, oops, that's supposed to be a lead. So it was a $1,000 product, and he generated about 200 leads. And gosh, I can't write it all. So $1,000 product, 200 leads, and he paid, I believe it was like $450 a lead. So he spent, and he, if he's watching, he could correct me if I'm wrong, but he spent about $1,000 on ads. Now, that's like $5 a lead close to, right? And so that guy who I was talking to 2 months ago would be like, oh, I would never pay $5 a lead. Oh my, are you kidding me? I would never pay it. But this guy did the webinar. Of these 200 who registered, you want to know how many bought? 7. How much is 7 times 1,000? That's $7,000 in revenue. How much did you spend? $1,000. Would you spend one to make 7,000? All of us would do that, right? That's an awesome ROI on a webinar. And so it doesn't really matter. I believe one of the questions that we actually got on this was like, what's a good click-through rate to aim for? And the truth is, I don't even look at click-through rates because so many different variables go into a good click-through rate. All I look at, here's all I look at to tell if my ad's doing well, is how much am I paying to generate a lead in comparison to my other ads in the same interest, right? Like ads from interest to interest can vary. So it could be $3 lead that I'm happy with, and then $1 a lead and I'm not happy with, depending on the interest and how targeted they are. But like in interest, so like if I'm targeting a bunch of different network marketing companies, they're all pretty much going to give me the same quality of lead. And so if I'm getting $2 a lead at one place and then $6 a lead somewhere else, then I'm going to delete the $6 a lead campaign and scale up the $2 a lead one. And so it just really depends. Like also what goes into it isn't how much the lead isn't just what your click-through rate is, but also how much Facebook is charging you per 1,000 impressions. Like they could be charging you $10 per 1,000 impressions or $20. So if they're charging you $20, obviously you need to get twice as many clicks for the campaign to get you the same amount of leads. So I don't really look at click-through rates. I just look at, like, I optimize my campaigns for conversions. And so I look at, am I getting leads from these ads, and can I afford to pay that much per lead? And that's all I look at. I hope that answers your question with that. And so, yeah, let me see if there's any other questions, though. And Brent, you can look, and if there's anything you can answer as well. So, Nicholas, I hope that answers your question, brother. Danielle asked, what about scraping UIDs? I wouldn't scrape UIDs. Facebook doesn't like that. Just an FYI. Josh asked, I think it'll be helpful for people to get an understanding on targeting ads for the right action. Website click, engagement, likes, conversions. Awesome. Good question. Good question. So here is, this is just the regular Facebook Ads Manager. If you go do the Power Editor, which I highly recommend, you get the same options. So the options aren't any different in the Power Editor. Now, as you can see here, we have a few different kinds of ads that we can create. We can create a boosted post ad. What's that? Well, that's basically, you have your fan page, and then like Brent showed you earlier, you can post things on that fan page, just like you post on your personal profile. And I teach this strategy inside of the training that's in WooCar. So you put a post on Facebook, pretend this is Facebook and this is a post. You can then boost this post. So basically you pay Facebook to advertise this post. Now what I do is I do my boosted post in the Power Editor. And so what that does, if you do a boosted post in the Facebook Ads Manager, you're just boosting the post, and what you're doing is you're basically, Facebook is going to monitor engagement. So like Facebook is going to optimize it to get more people to like your post. I don't really care how many people like my post. I care how many leads I get and how much money I make. And so what you can do is you can actually do a boosted post inside of the Power Editor, but still have the goal of that post be to get conversions. So it's still going to optimize for, let me actually show you what I mean. Let me go back to my Power Editor real quick, because this is pretty important. So let me just I'm just going to click Create Ad. So I'm creating an ad. Again, this is the Power Editor. If you hopped on late and didn't see me explain the Power Editor, this is being recorded, so you can watch the recording and see me explain the Power Editor. So I'm just going to use one of my old ad sets, and I'm just going to name the ad Apple II, and create this ad here. And so now, if you remember from the beginning, I created this particular campaign is all about clicks to website. Now, if I wanted, when I created the campaign, I could have had it website conversions. I can optimize for whatever I want, and now what I can do, and you can't do this inside of the Facebook Ads Manager, so let me find Apple II here. It's coming, I believe. Okay, so here's Apple II. Instead of creating an ad where I just send people straight to a link, it says use existing post. And so I can use an existing post, and I can boost one of my last posts. Like here's a post that I did. I can boost this post, which is the same option as this option here, but instead of optimizing that campaign for engagement, basically likes on the post, I can still optimize it for conversions. So it'll convert into leads at a higher rate by using the Power Editor. Just something to be aware of. And I do boosted posts a lot. They work really well. The next thing you can do is you can choose the option to promote your page. Now, this is the option that you're going to do if you're going to do Brent's strategy. You want to get likes to your fan page, so you click the promote your page ad. The next one is we can just send people to website, which is one that I use a lot. I don't like it, again, quite as much as increase conversions to website, because I like to optimize for leads, which is what I'm trying to get. But if you don't own the thank you page, then you have to do send people to website. And so I hope that answers your question. Great question, Josh, and I believe you already knew the answer, but just we're wanting to help others out. Appreciate you. Thanks for asking. Will this be available? I believe this will be available on the YouTube channel. Yes. Okay, Paul asked, you can add an opt-in page via an app on your fan page. Yes, I believe you can do that. I've never done it. Brent, do you have any experience of doing that, brother?
Yeah, I know you can, but I never have. I just will, in a post, like I might put an image that'll get people's attention. Like on the barbecue page, I might put up an image about barbecue, maybe a recipe or something, and right above it in the text, I'll say, what daily recipes or what weekly recipes, or do you want more barbecue updates? Click here to join our barbecue newsletter, and then just link them over to a lead page. So yeah, if they have an app that does it, go for it. I haven't personally done that. I just link to a lead page. It's simpler, it's quicker.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you, brother. Judy asks, do you get the price of likes down by being more specific? Mine more like 15 to 35 cents. And Brent answered it perfectly. He said, yes, Judy, being more specific on your target audience helps drive down the cost in a roundabout way, because Facebook rewards you with lower costs as you have better ratios of people liking your page from your ads. It goes back to this concept. So Facebook, again, they are going to charge you based on impressions. So for every 1,000 impressions you get, Facebook is going to charge you a certain amount of money. And depending on the interest, that can vary in big ways, depending on the interest. So they're going to charge you for every 1,000 impressions you get, which means that if you're really specific with your ad and who you're targeting, and you're getting 100 people out of every 1,000, let's say, let's use this example. Let's say you're charged per 1,000 impressions, and let's say it's $10 per 1,000 impressions. So basically what that means is for every 1,000 people who sees your ad, Facebook is going to bill you $10. Well, if your ad isn't very specific and isn't very congruent to the audience, you might only get 1 out of every 1,000 people to like, which basically means you're paying you're getting 1 like for $10. But if you were able to get 10 people, because you're more specific with who you're targeting, 10 out of every 1,000, now instead of paying $10, you're only paying $1 per. And if you can, so basically the higher you get the amount of people who like yours out of the audience you're targeting, basically the higher you get your click-through rate or your like-through rate, whatever you want to call it, the cheaper your likes are going to be. And the cheaper your likes are, obviously the more profitable you can become. And how do you do that? By being more specific. Great question, great answer, Brent.
Yeah, great way to. I was going to say great way to put it, because like if I have 2 ads running in the fitness niche, one of them is to CrossFit, that's very broad, and another one that is maybe to that WOD Superstore. They're both in CrossFit. They're probably both going to have the same cost per 1,000 that you talked about. It might be $10. But the WOD Superstore, it's going to be more high. It's going to convert higher into likes. So it's going to look cheaper per like, just because we got a better response from that ad, because we targeted that avatar more closely, more tightly.
Perfect, dude. Perfect. Thanks, brother. Facebook charges to display demand. Therefore, if your ad is super specific, that means be less fixed supply with the lower demand equals a lower price. Paul, that's actually not 100% correct, because if you target a smaller audience in Facebook, Facebook will actually charge you more money. Which is like odd. You'd think that like a smaller audience, less people would be targeting that group, so it'd be cheaper. But it's actually that Facebook will actually charge you more money for targeting smaller audiences, but your likes will still be cheaper because more people will be clicking on it. So like as an example, let's say, just to keep the numbers simple, let's say per 1,000 impressions, you're targeting something pretty broad and you're paying $10 per 1,000, and then you're targeting something super, super specific with only a few thousand fans, which is like tiny. You might be charged $20 per 1,000, but here if you get 10 out of every 1,000 to like it, you're paying $1 per like. And here, because you're more specific, that's supposed to be $1. Here, because you're more specific, even though you're paying more per 1,000 impressions, you might get, instead of double, it might be 40 people out of every 1,000. So you might be paying more per 1,000 impressions, but that's still, instead of $1, this is only 50 cents per like in this example. And so that's actually how it works, brother, I believe. And I could be wrong, but that's what I have noticed as far as my campaigns. The more specific I get, they actually charge me more money, but I still, per 1,000 impressions, but my actual click and leads are still cheaper because I'm still getting exponentially more people to click on the ads. I hope that makes sense, everybody. Was there another question here? How often should we put the link? Okay, Judy asked an awesome question. Brent, I think you can answer this one probably, brother.
Yeah, you could put a link in. She asks, how often should you put a link into your posts that go to your capture page? Like if you're trying to get people to opt into your list so you have them there. You could do it every time if you wanted. Sometimes I will just post content like an image with a question to get people to engage and not link to anything. But you could almost every time have a link in your description, almost like an advertisement. You could have an image with a little bit of a line, like with a question, try to get them to engage, and then right below it you could have a space, and then another line that says, by the way, join our email newsletter. You could do that every time if you wanted. It wouldn't really hurt engagement any.
Okay, so Brent, just on that same note, you said earlier if you have a really good fan page, like a quality one, it's getting engagement, it's getting likes, people are liking the posts, they're commenting, all that, good quality fan page, and on your quality ones, you're doing like 10 to 15 posts a day. So if you're doing 10 to 15 posts a day, how many of them would be pictures? How many of those would have links in it? Is there any specific, or is it different from day to day? How does that work?
That's a great question. It differs from day to day. There's no exact ratio, but I would make probably at least half of those images with a question or a comment that gets people to like something in the description that gets people to comment. Half of them images, those work really well, and then videos, more and more videos. Videos get more and more shares as Facebook's really starting to show more videos in people's news feeds. So yeah, definitely you can, and when we have the Wave engine ready and we can link to videos that somehow make us money inside of WooCar.com, that'll be awesome, because then we can, instead of just linking to a video on YouTube, we can actually get some money coming in from linking to videos through the Wave engine. So yeah, and then I could do another couple posts per day on things like, if it's a barbecue page, it'd be to recipes or to how-tos, how to barbecue better. So whatever your niche is about, informational, helpful content, really that gets shared a lot as well. So you could make whatever ratio you want, but just make sure you put a good mixture in there of content, of images, videos, helpful blog posts, that kind of stuff.
Beauty, bro. Thank you, man. Let's see. If you have any other questions, everybody, go ahead and ask them now. We'll probably, we've taken up about 2 hours of your time tonight. Thank you guys so much for being on here with us. I hope you got massive value. Me and Brent were talking to Kenny before, and he's like, dude, if you guys want to come on in about a month or so and teach some more stuff, totally you can do that. So we'll probably be teaching more and more stuff as we go to really, really show you Facebook ads. I know we gave you a ton of awesome value, and I went through a course that was like $2,000 on Facebook ads a while ago, and it was probably less information than what we gave you tonight. So I hope you guys got super massive value. We'll probably hang on for about another 2 minutes. So if you have any last minute questions, ask them now, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. The main thing is just to take action. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know until you go out and do it, until you create your ads. The best way to learn is to do. Like, we can teach and teach and teach, but the only way for you to learn stuff is to actually go out and do it. That's the only way to really, really learn what works and what doesn't work, is you just have to test stuff. Test lots of different images, and just get stuff out there and see how profitable you are. I know one question people ask is, how fast do I kill a campaign? So it's like, I've spent $10 and I've only got one lead. Do I kill the campaign? Do I kill the campaign? Yes, I do. So here's how fast I kill the campaign. This is how I tell when I want to kill a campaign. I let a campaign run for 2 days before I decide to kill it at whatever price it is. So like, if I decide, and not a campaign, but like an ad set. So like, to give you an example, let's just use the network marketing example because it's easy and I know it and I'm doing it. So you have network marketing is the campaign. Within that campaign, we have ad sets. So we have different companies. We have Herbalife, Monavie, whatever companies I'm targeting, right? So we have these companies, and these are ad sets. And let's say each ad set, I'm spending $10 a day on each of these ad sets. I let all of them run for 2 days, unless like I'm just not profitable, like unless nothing good is happening on any of the ads. But like, let's say I'm doing 10 different ad sets. 10 different ad sets with 10 different campaigns, each at $10 a day each at $10 a day between 10 different ad sets. And let's say like half of them the first day do well, half of them don't do so well. Do I kill the ones immediately that don't do well? I don't. I let them run for 2 days at whatever price I decided, and then I look at them and I see if I'm getting the price per lead that I want, which for me is anything less than like $5 a lead I keep. Even though $5 is a little bit more than what I really want to spend, I still usually keep it. Once I get to about $6 a lead, and again, if you're going after customers, this is very different. Customers, you want to get leads much cheaper because you're only making $45 on a sale. So if you're paying $6 a lead, there's no way you're going to be profitable or even close to it. So it's different depending on what you're marketing, because a sale is worth a different amount of money. But I let them run for 2 days if some are doing well. If I'm running 10 ads and they're all bombing, I would, like, at the end of that day, like if I spend $10 on 10 different campaigns and they all bomb, done, new ad. And so if some are doing well and some aren't, I'll let them run for a couple of days and kind of see if they pick up. Because sometimes, and the reason why I like to do multiple different ad sets, so instead of doing one ad at $100, I do 10 ads targeting 10 different interests at $10 a day each. I'm spending the same amount of money, but I'm diversifying it. And the reason why I like to do that, not only does it not saturate as fast and stuff, but it's also because sometimes, and it's weird how this happens, but sometimes an interest will do good one day and then bad the next. And it's weird. I don't really know for sure why it is. So whenever I have 10 different ad sets, if a couple of them do bad one day, it's okay. The next day they could do good. Whereas if you're just running, one ad set for one keyword, and it does bad, you might think the ad campaign isn't good, when the next day it could have crushed it. And so that's kind of I know that's a question that a lot of people have. Let's see. Okay. I've tested 50 plus times on a page of 1 million. It's killer. Josh, what do you mean? If you could explain what you mean. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he just talked about it right up above a couple lines.
Okay, so Josh says, bonus, use the emotions additive like feeling awesome, eating for more edge rank in your posts, especially with text-only posts. Awesome, great tip. So on Facebook, you can do the emotion stuff. I've actually never, ever in all of my life done that, but you can add in an emotion to the post. And he's saying if you add this emotion, you'll get more edge rank on that post. That's pretty ninja. Thank you, bro. I had no idea. Didn't even know that. Perfect. Great tip, brother. I've tested it 50 plus times. It all makes sense, just overwhelming, very news. Is it easier than it sounds? It's like you're learning a brand new skill, you go to college and you spend 4 years mostly learning nothing, but it's to learn some sort of a skill, and so you're learning a brand new skill. When you're learning a brand new skill, it might seem a little complex, like the first time you learn how to do pretty much anything, at that moment it might seem complex and overwhelming, but I think looking back on it here in a couple of days, when you're looking back on this moment, you'll realize that it really wasn't that complex. There was just a lot of information. But once you start doing it, you start catching on. That's the main thing, is you just got to do, right? You just log into the Power Editor, create your first ad. You're going to run into speed bumps. Just, go over them slowly, and then eventually you'll realize that what might seem like a mountain to you now is actually just a tiny hill, and that you can just kind of walk right over it. That's what you'll realize. Let's see.
And the beauty of Facebook is you can start with a little ad. On some of my campaigns, I have budgets of $3 or $5 per day just to see what different interests. Now, overall, I might spend a whole lot more together, but on a single little ad, run it for $3 a day just to see how many likes it gets you at what price. Same way with what you're doing. $10 a day can get you some really good data to see how things are working out for you. So don't be overwhelmed by everything, thinking you have to know what you're doing right away. Like you said, just test it, test small, and work your way up as you figure out what works.
Awesome, dude. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Ray asked, do you have a site with a join capture page and WooCard lead pages? I don't have one specifically. Lead pages has the survey style capture page. I love that one. I use it a lot. But there's a bunch, and you just got to test stuff. Make sure you're congruent. That's the main thing, and I think I talk about that a lot inside of my training, so I'm not going to harp on it forever. But congruency is the most important thing in any advertising. Like being congruent to where someone reads your ad, and then when they go to your capture page, they see the same thing. So there's no surprise, because if someone sees something on an ad, they're making a decision to want that. If they click on it, they're saying, hey, I want this. And so if your capture pages says something different, they're like, what? I wanted this thing. And so the main thing is that whatever you tell people they're going to get on this and the ad, give it to them on the capture page. They're having an itch for that thing, and then you want to scratch the itch so that there's no more itch. I hope that makes sense. A little bit of rambling, but and Chrissy says, I'm so happy you were here with us. Thank you so much, Chrissy. I'm glad that you were on with us tonight. I'm pretty much wrapped up. Brent, do you have any final thoughts, brother?
No, I think that was a good wrap-up that you did.
Cool,
good
brother.
how-tos to run with.
Cool, cool. Thank you guys so much for being on with us tonight. It will be recorded. This last section, the last hour and a half or so, was on my personal YouTube account. So this one isn't on the WooCar one yet. So I'm going to get with Kenny tonight because it like cut in and out whenever he was hosting it earlier tonight. So I'm going to get with Kenny and see how we can get this YouTube video on the WooCar page, but obviously the video is still going to be up on this page until at least next week, I would assume. And so you can keep watching it. I would watch it a couple of times because we dropped some straight-up gold nuggets. Imagine that's a gold nugget. That's what we dropped for you tonight. And that's all for me. Again, my name is Landon Stewart. Thank you guys so much for being with us. And Brent, if you want to do the final signing out.
Thanks, everybody. Just go take action. See what results you get. Take care.
Cool, cool. Later, everybody. Let me see how to actually close, though. Stop. Cool. That was... Oh, wait. We're still live. We're still live.
You're still live. Hey, everybody. We're still here.
Yeah, we're still... I don't know how to close.